Hello students, I wanted to take some time and walk you through the second performance-based project, which is disciplinary team planning, in which you will create a discipline plan for your middle school or hypothetical middle school. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to click on the interdisciplinary discipline plan instructions. It will begin with the same prompt that you see right here. You do have several weeks to complete this project, almost a full month from the time that it was released. It's not due until November 25th, but given that fall break is coming up, and I know many of you like to organize your time quite effectively, and especially budget it, as the end of the semester will be here before you know it, I wanted to make sure that you had ample time to get this started. So you will click on the interdisciplinary discipline plan instructions and a Word doc will pop up. I already have it open, so I'm going to navigate over to it. And it begins with the same prompt that you just saw on Blackboard. It says your principal has assigned each of you to be the representatives of your curriculum department. Given the importance of leadership in the middle school setting, your role is to create the grade level interdisciplinary plan for the new school year. You're also asked to refer to pages 244 to 252 of your textbook for examples and suggested formatting. I highly, highly suggest that you read through those pages a couple different times because it has excellent examples of each component that you're going to need to include within your discipline plan. Now, unlike the previous performance-based project where you had a very explicit rubric tied to standards, you're not going to be given a rubric tied to standards for this. Instead, it's just going to be a checklist. I really want you to follow much of the format and suggestions that are in the textbook, but I want you to obviously apply your own flair, give your own unique spin to this. So there are elements that you need to include, and so you're just going to follow this document as you would a checklist. So the first element, you need to have roles between 3 to 5 specifically, and the textbook has some great suggestions for really effective and needed roles in the middle school setting. You'll need to have consequences between 3 to 6 specifically that you will employ if rules are broken. And you have to have ample explanations for what will occur and why. You'll need to have team encouragement strategies because we want to motivate through positivity, and you will list 3 to 5 encouragement strategies to encourage compliance and obedience towards those roles, and why they would be needed in order to maintain a healthy and respectful classroom and middle school environment. Then you'll have team procedures. There are 18 examples on page 246. You're going to select 3 of these, and you're going to design the procedure that you would want for all the students. And these pertain to important daily things that happen within the middle school setting, such as going to the restroom. So there's a whole list of procedures that you would need to employ, and you're going to realize you need to be thorough and explicit. Something as simple as going to the restroom when you have many, many students on hand can become a means of trouble and or distraction. So you have to have procedures in place for properly handling going to the restroom. Here's for instance of the procedures that you could include. All students are required to have a teacher's signature in their planner prior to being excused for the restroom. Teachers will initial the planner and mark the time the bathroom break was given. Restroom breaks will not be permitted between the tardy bell and taking class attendance. Excessive bathroom requests, more than 4 in a day for more than 3 days in a week, require the parent to be notified by the school nurse. And homeroom teachers are responsible for reviewing restroom requests each Friday at night period and contacting the school nurse when applicable. Now, I know this seems a little drastic. However, we have to remember that sometimes students look for loopholes in order to abuse some different privileges. And in addition, there's also that rare instance where you might be the first to notice that there's a medical need. There's some type of emergency where the parents need to be notified. So that's why we have those elements there. But they also serve to reinforce to students that, hey, there's going to be some consequences and we're going to pay attention to this. That way we keep our classroom effectively managed, and students are in their seats and learning when appropriate and not abusing any privileges. Number 5, you'll have to have a parent conference format, and you'll design the format for parent-teacher conferences for all the teachers, and you will want to look at page 250 of your textbook for an explanation of this. And you'll have a short paragraph of the expectations for all the teachers regarding how they would follow the parent-teacher format, or excuse me, parent conference format. Then for number 6, you will have a school community plan. You want to create a vision for your school in order to enhance a sense of belonging and a sense of community and partnership between faculty, staff, students, and families. Lastly, you'll have you want to make sure that you root the discipline strategies that you're using in some type of educational theory or best practices. So you'll write one paragraph, maybe 2, about a discipline theory that you believe effectively aligns with your rules and consequences. We're going to look at a specific example so that you feel well prepared to cover all of these 7 components within your discipline plan, but I did want to note that you do need to cite a theorist, either from another educational textbook, research article, and you need to make sure that that citation is in APA format. So you will have a reference page. At minimum, it will have 1 reference. It could have 2 if you're going to integrate an additional theorist, or if you're going to cite our textbook, which I would highly encourage you to do. But back in the Blackboard shell, there was a student sample. There are actually 2 student samples of discipline plans, and I'm going to pull up one of them so that you can look at what the overall end product will look at. Haley Weiss handed in a beautiful discipline plan last semester, and so I thought hers would serve nicely for our discussion tonight. Firstly, we're going to set up the rules and expectations. She used an acronym that follows READ to help the students better remember the rules and expectations. Then she created consequences that would follow as a result of students not following the rules. Those consequences include verbal warning, a fine, a visit to the office, and a conference. And then she goes on to elaborate what each of those entail. Team encouragement strategies to encourage students to follow the rules because of the great benefits that they yield are then elaborated on, and she has 3 team encouragement strategies there. Then she lists her team procedures for important, frequent activities that take place within the classroom. So she chose testing rules, she chose use of lockers, and she chose bathroom times. Now notice that she gave her own personal touch to each of these. She obviously did not just replicate that bathroom procedure example that was in the instructions that we just went over. She thought through this. She used the text as a resource to help her think through what would be logical, but then she also came up with some great relevant procedures for student use of lockers and for testing roles. So I think it would be great for you to look through this, and I think it'll motivate you to come up with some great ideas on your own. Then she went over the parent conference format. And this is important for you to think through because you want to have the most productive time when you meet with parents, and structure and knowing in advance what you want that to look like will help you to stay on point. It will also help you to provide the parents with very valuable and worthwhile feedback, and it'll help you to stay within a certain amount of time too. That way you aren't sucked into something that you didn't anticipate, and it will allow you to not cause too many other parents to have to wait because one parent is holding you hostage, for lack of a better word. So it's good to have a parent conference format, and this is something that you would then share with parents so that they know what to anticipate too when they're coming in. And then you have a school community plan. Remember, we talk so much in this text and even through our discussions about the importance of building strong parent and family relationships between teachers, schools, because we really, as teachers, are an extension of the family. You know, parents are the first teachers, and we are there as advocates to help them do their job. So we want to form a great, strong bridge with them, and the school community plan does just that. So read through Haley's, read your text for some good examples, and you should be good to go on that. And then you want to base your rules, consequences, within educational best practices and theory. Notice she has a nice substantial paragraph, and she links her rules and consequences to the research of John Dewey, and then she elaborates on that. Lastly, she has her reference page. So Haley's full submission with her title page is 8 pages. So I'm looking for something about that length and with the degree of substance that Haley produced in your disciplinary team planning project. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out by email. I look forward to seeing what you produce, and I welcome any questions that you might have.